We are live. Good morning, everybody. Can you see me, Chris?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, I'm going to fiddle about here. It says we're live, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed and I'm hoping that we're live. I had a little difficulty, everybody, because I was all set, ready to go, and then it said it was not connecting to my internet and I had no clue what to do about it because I'm not a techie. So I thought I'll just start again from the beginning. Chris, have you got me?
I do have you.
All right. So, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. First of all, we'd like to say good morning to my spirit guide, Grey Eagle, who is to my right side. Uh, what you're hearing is relief because I really thought that we weren't going to make it this morning. And then Cachorro is in the corner. He's like little Jack Horner, isn't he? He's like a naughty boy in the corner. But he's sound asleep. But he's actually doing okay. His legs are not doing great, but he's doing okay. He's eating, so that's a good thing. And we have with us this morning my friend and fabulous helper, Chris. Say good morning, Chris.
Good morning, everyone.
And so if she sounds a bit faint, it's because we're doing this. You're in Vermont, right, Chris?
Way up in Vermont.
Way up in Vermont, and I'm way down here in Florida on the west coast. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to tell you what I did yesterday. I made a really good chicken salad. I love my chicken salad. I have it almost every day, I have to say. Anyway, so I made some chicken salad and my friend Mary Lou came over and we drove to the beach and I packed a little dinner with chicken salad and a couple of crisp breads and off we went to the beach and we watched the sunset and then we sort of drove for a little bit, but we drove down the coast road, which is really very close to the beach. Pulled up, took the chairs out of the trunk of the car. I almost said the boot, but took chairs out of the boot of the car. Why not? I'm British anyway. And we went. By this time, the sun had already set, but the sky was still sort of bright and light, and the reds and the golds. And I'll send some pictures I'll put some pictures on the Facebook page later on today. Absolutely spectacular. It was a really warm night, but the breezes from the Gulf were just heaven. It was just heaven. I sat there in a little t-shirt. I FaceTimed with my daughter and my grandson to say, look where I am. And my daughter said, "Ooh, the beach, the beach." So we're getting all excited because hopefully they're coming for a trip very soon. And it was just heavenly. It was just really heavenly. So it makes me feel that I'm really very blessed to be living in this fantastic, phenomenal place. You know, so many people have an idea that, especially in the summertime, especially sort of June, July, August, September, it's unbearable. The heat is unbearable in Florida. But there is a trick to it. If you go to the west coast, you are on the Gulf, you get those Gulf breezes coming across all the time. It's not like being sort of downtown in Orlando or in built up areas, or even on the East Coast, you do get breezes, but it's not the same. It's sort of hotter and it's more stifling. So you've got to pick where you want to be in Florida. And for me, the West Coast is the very best. Now, Chris, you've come to visit a few times, right? What do you think about where we live here?
I love the area you're at. You're so close to the beach, and the sand is just so white, and the water's turquoise, and
It's beautiful.
it's cool. It's just so peaceful and relaxing for me.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And you know, when you talk about the white sands, I mean, it really is white sand, and the water's sort of turquoise most of the time. Uh, Even in stormy weather, there's something really cool about this place. It's just, you know, I'm definitely well blessed to be living in this amazing place. And then of course on top of that, not meaning to boast or brag or make anybody jealous or anything like that, of course, but I do also have a nice pool and a nice area to sit out, and I have these amazing beds that I bought in Mexico hundreds of years ago now, it seems. I've had them forever and they're good and solid, and geez, what a life I live. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And of course the food that comes out of my kitchen is also amazing, and on it goes, right, Chris?
I know when we come to visit, we're extremely fortunate. I mean, you just can't go wrong.
Well, it's a great holiday place, really. My daughter, actually, I spoke to her this morning, and she said that a friend of hers, she wanted to invite a friend of hers to come with her they're coming for a few days, her and her daughter. Would that be okay? And I said, well, that would be fine, because then Reese will have someone to play with, and he'll have someone to go on the beach with, and there's so many things to do here in Florida. I know lots of people think, alligators, and they think, I can remember I was in Vermont when I was thinking of buying a house here, and I was in Vermont, I was in the grocery store, and I was talking to the girl behind the register, and I knew her, and she said, so then, have you decided to go? And I said, yes. So she said, well, my first suggestion is buy one of those, I don't know what they call it, a crossbow, because you'll need it for the alligators. I'm thinking, what? She said, trust me, I used to live there, and that's what you need. You need a crossbow to fight off the alligators. And it made it sound like there are alligators everywhere, and there aren't. And just like anywhere else in the world, you just, you adapt. So you figure out what you need to do in order to survive in a place, and then you get on and do it. There are these, I remember going to Australia, and I was taken, the first night I was there, I was taken out to dinner by the publisher, who I was out there promoting a book, and she said, at one point we're sitting there, we're having a nice meal, it's a very nice restaurant, the food is great, and all of a sudden she said to me, very seriously, pick your feet up. I was like, what? Pick your feet up now. So what she said, I think I think they call them a brown back, and I said, what are you talking about? And this sort of fairly small spider, but if it's got a brown spot on its back, it's poisonous. So wherever you go in the world, everybody, there's always something. Even in England, we have, what do we have in England? We have rattlers and all that sort of thing. Not very often, we don't come across them very often, but in every country in the world, there's always something. I'm rabbiting on. Chris, do we have anybody on? Have we got any questions? Is everybody ready to go yet?
Well, I think you've got a little confusion with your channel, because you had an original show slated for this morning with the date of 6/18/20, and the one that you're actually speaking live on says 66/18/20.
Oh.
So you do have a few people who have found you, but I think it might take a little bit for them to catch up.
Well, what happened was, and I didn't realize I put 66, that's my error. What happened was I got it all set up and ready, and then when I went to press live, it wouldn't connect. So I tried again and it wouldn't connect, and I tried 3 times, because I always obey the 3-time rule, and it wouldn't connect, so I had to redo it. So I came out of that one because it wouldn't connect, and then put this one on. I didn't realize it was 66. I'm sorry, everybody, that's completely my fault. I'm keeping my fingers crossed you all find me, but if not, it will be uploaded onto YouTube, hopefully in the next couple of days or so, and you'll be able to see it then. So, all right, well, we do have some people who found us, right, Chris? So
right, so you have a few good mornings from Terry.
Good morning, Terry.
Kitty, Jan, I am, and Dulcie Lee.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, then. Well, let's just go with what we've got. We can't do anything about it. It's totally my error, everybody. But having said that, I don't know how to correct it, so there we have it. And it was, you're right, it was scheduled. Uh, and then I didn't realize I put 66. Sorry.
Well, I think you did fabulous having to
I've really made a
quickly
muck up
hunt
of it.
on the run.
Well, I've made a muck up of it, but anyway, hopefully, let's just have some fun anyway. Those who want to find me will find me. That's what I always say. Right. Do we have any questions yet, or is just everybody just hanging out?
Well, the initials IM asks, will I see my new grandbaby this year?
I have no idea. I never ever sneak peek at babies. Well, that's not actually true. I might sneak peek at the baby situation for people, but I never tell. I make a rule not to tell. I make a rule not to tell the sex of the child. I make a rule not to tell anything about the child, except if somebody were to say, you know, is it healthy? Is it okay? But as far as babies are concerned, I try never to spoil the fun or the surprise. You know, I know that nowadays you can have the scan and you can find the sex of the baby, and I know lots and lots of people prefer to do that nowadays. But there is something exciting and sort of, you know, hold your breath magic moment when you didn't used to be able to tell the sex of a child, and you know you had to wait and see. And I know that everybody. My daughter wanted to know the sex of the child. I'm not quite sure why. I think people tell themselves, well, that's so that we can buy boys' clothes or girls' clothes or whatever it is. We know what we're doing. Um, I also think that in some ways it's nice to know the sex of the child, because then you can talk to him or her. But I talked to my baby not knowing. I might have had an inkling that she was a girl, but I was the only one who did believe that I was having a girl, because everybody I spoke to would look at me and say, oh, you're having a boy, you're definitely having a boy. And I always used to feel very protective and think to myself, is my little girl not wanted? But I don't know. There's something about losing the magic when we can find out, when we can know. And I know that there are some parents who do still choose to be surprised. I'm not sure what I'd do in that circumstance. What would you do, Chris?
Well, you know, you and I spoke this morning. Today's my eldest son's 36th birthday. So I remember when I was pregnant with him, I absolutely wanted to know. And
you did?
Yeah, an interesting story was, you know, I sat there with the baby book with names, and we're going over a ton of names. I'd narrowed them down to 10 names. And then, you know, one night just really sat there. I probably went into some sort of meditative state, not knowing what it was back then. And I heard in my head, as you describe, a voice seeping through your skull, Matthew.
Through your skin, actually, not through your skull, but skin.
Through your skin. And I looked up what the name Matthew meant, and it said gift of God. So happy birthday to my son. But yes, I wanted to know.
So you thought, I'll take that then. And of course, in those days, you couldn't go and have a scan, could you? Couldn't do that, right?
I did have a scan, actually.
Oh, you did?
Because he was a breech birth, and that was the only reason. It wasn't like people nowadays.
Did they actually tell you the sex of the child then?
They ask you if you want to know, so you have a choice of saying yes or no, and I did.
Oh, right. Oh, nice, very nice. Well, there you go then. You see, so I did it my way, the weird way. But how nice you heard that voice say Matthew. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Very nice. And as you said, it's his birthday today, so happy birthday, Matthew, gift of God. All right then, let's move on. Do we have anyone? I know we've got a few things popping up, Chris. So what have you got here for me?
Well, I am just responded. It's that she hasn't seen her grandchild. So the grandchild will be 1 year old on November 8th.
Oh,
she hasn't seen her yet, and Opal is her name.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. I completely misunderstood the question. So here's your answer from Grey Eagle. I'm sorry, I was listening very carefully then. I don't want to give you misdirection. Would you just take a step forward and get on with it? And if you do that, the answer is yes. But it's actually, it seems to be your choice and nobody else's. Let me just say that nothing, and I mean nothing, would stop me from seeing my grandson. Even if they had to wheel me on a stretcher, I think I'd find a way to get there to do it. I know we've got COVID and all the rest of it. I know all this stuff is going on. Just want to give a heads up to everybody that Oxford University in England is this close, by the way, to a cure for COVID. I don't know why it is not all over the news here in the States, because it's certainly all over the news in England. And it's almost as if there are certain people, politicians, people, who knows, who just want to keep this terrible thing hanging over our heads, and they're prolonging things. I mean, why? Why is nobody in this country talking about the potential cures? And Oxford University, and there's another university also in England, they're very, very close to figuring this out, to the point where they are now testing, which means that once the, what is it? Is it the FDA here in the States, isn't it? Is the FDA? Is it the health?
Well, that's the Food and Drug Administration. Would this be the CDC?
I don't know. Whatever it is, anyway, they have to test a drug before they, but because it's COVID, they've sort of moved it up and fast tracking it a little bit. And so they are really, you know, sort of so close to it. So yes, my darling, but I would not let anything stop me. Of course, you have to then tackle the parents, don't you? So that's tough. But still, I think if you want to do it, you can do it. Okay, let's keep moving on. Oh, bless you. I feel awful that you haven't had your arms around this little one.
All right, so here's another reason for folks to subscribe. We had both Megan and Carlos say, if you are a subscriber, when you go live, it shows up. It warns you. It tells you.
Oh.
Carlos says, I was meditating with Journey Toward Healing, and I see the reminder about the show. So if you're not subscribed, you'll miss out. If you are subscribed, you'll know when Rosemary goes live.
Oh, I didn't realize that, Chris. So there you are. I always say to people, subscribe, 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 because apparently then, and thanks to Carlos and Megan.
Yeah.
Thanks to the both of you. We can actually say to people now that you don't need to worry about a reminder. It will pop up on your screen, Rosemary's coming on live, or whatever it says. If you subscribe, it tells you when I'm coming on, how I'm coming on, and so on and so forth. And I think you probably just need then to click on it, don't you, or something? I don't know how it works.
Yeah,
but
yeah, you have the choice.
But it will also take you into the place that I'm actually in, so that any mishaps and misunderstandings from this morning, you know, if you can't find your way into the channel because I made a mistake, I'm owning up to it. I have no clue what I'm doing, and I obviously put 1/6 too many in the title. Sorry about that. But it will eliminate any confusion, because it will just take you straight to where I am live, and it will tell you that I'm going live on this channel, and it's easy. So there's a thank you, Carlos, and thank you, Megan. Subscribe, 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 so you don't miss inadvertently any more of my shows. Thank you. So keep going, Chris.
Megan's giving you an update on her cousin. She said, thank you for the prayers. She was released from the hospital this morning. She is a nurse who had COVID. God is good. Prayers are the best medicine.
Yes, they are. I take it that means she's good then. I'm so happy. I'm so pleased. Megan, you know what people don't tell you with all of this stuff going on is that, oh gosh, a major percentage of people who have COVID survive. It's a very, very small minority of people who do not survive COVID. Very, very small minority. In fact, having done my research, more people, believe it or not, die of influenza every year than they have of COVID around the world. So please, just take that under advisement. Don't allow the media, don't allow the news media, don't allow the politicians, don't allow these people who seem to want to keep the drama going for whatever reason. Don't allow them to panic you, or to bring fear into your lives, because that's what they do. And they hype everything up and they make everything so much more than it is, at the same time hiding the real facts from us. We all know that, don't we? I mean, common sense tells you that. We all know that. But then when we see these headlines, or we see these things like Florida's spiking, you know why Florida is spiking is because Florida is now testing so many people to see if they have had COVID. Not that they have it, that they have had it. And so if you're concerned about going into a particular state, or you're concerned about travel, what you really need to do is you need to go to the hospitals, research the hospitals. If the hospitals are filled, no beds left, nothing, etc., then you've got something to worry about. But the hospitals are not like that anymore. The hospitals are coping perfectly well. So, we need to ask ourselves, why do these people need to make it worse? And why, again, are people not talking about the fact that in Oxford University and I forget which other universities in England, it's all over the British news. Please go check it out. I'm not making it up here. And they're in trials as we speak, and they're sort of, pushing this forward because they know it's such a huge concern. So it's not going to be too much longer, everybody, before it's just one more thing that we're able to deal with as we deal with everything else. Chris.
All right. Dulcie said, I have read soul signs and I think I know what my sign is, but she didn't let us know.
Oh, Dulcie, come on. You got to tell us more than that, my darling. I hope you understand. Again, with soul signs, how many times I say this is beyond me, but I do feel that I need to say it because I know that lots of people do get confused. When you find soul signs, when you read soul signs, there are 13 soul signs. Don't go through each one of them, because you will get confused, because so you'll say, that's me. Or, well, that sounds like me, but that sounds like me. Wait a minute. If you do your soul group first, are you an earth sign? Are you an air sign? Water sign? Or an earth sign? I've nearly forgot my own sign then. No, nothing to do with astrology whatsoever, but find your group first, because within that group, you will only have 3 soul signs to choose from. One you will eliminate immediately, and then the other 2 you might go back and forth for a little bit until you figure out which one you are more of, which one do you relate to the most. Sometimes it'll jump right out at you or no, sometimes you'll have a little, well, that's like me, but that's like me as well. Look, we all have similar traits to each other, so don't confuse it by trying to figure out which of the 12 or 13 signs you are. Go for the group first. You've only got 3. You'll eliminate 1 immediately. That's definitely not me. You've got 2 to choose from, and it's easy. Then when you've done that and you found your own soul sign, Dulcie, please let us know. Isn't it fun then looking at everybody you know and thinking, which soul sign is he? Chris, you do that all the time, don't you?
I do. It's one of the first things I do, because I want to meet them at the place that they're at if I can.
Right. So anytime you meet someone new, or anytime you're working with somebody new, anytime you're socializing with somebody new, it's really good to know, is their energy compatible with yours? Soul signs will tell you. And knowing how to work out a person's soul sign and soul group, and therefore the energy that they are, really means that you're not going to get stuck in a relationship that isn't working for you or will not work for you. It's great to help you to find your soulmate. It's great for you to understand why, your mother loved your sister more than she loved you, or your father, loved your brother more than he loved one brother rather than the other. It totally explains human behavior, right, Chris? Absolutely explains human behavior. So,
Yes.
and if you want the workbook version of Soul Science, which I did republish, if you email me, rosemary@rosemariealtair.com, we'll let you know how much it costs and send it to you. It's as simple as that. But the workbook version is great because there are some sort of in between all the different groupings and so on. I've put in some blank pages, blank lined pages, because the one thing you want to do when you're reading soul science, once you've grasped it, the one thing you want to do is to make notes, right, Chris? And you want to figure out other people and the people who are closest to you and so on. And my daughter is an earth sign. She is definitely an earth sign, but unlike me, I'm also an earth sign, but she is a middle soul. She's smack in the middle. I'm a warrior soul and she is a visionary. My grandson is also an earth sign. We're still working. I'm still holding back. I think I pretty much know what he's going to be, what he is actually not going to be, but we shall see how well he develops with that and what he does with that. But so fascinating, so interesting. All right, Chris.
Kitty's on.
Morning, Kenny.
No, Kitty.
Oh, sorry, Kitty. Good morning, Kitty.
She says, what would cause family members to experience psychic moments and dreams all in a few days? How can you tell what the message could be?
Oh, Kitty. That's far too complicated a question. But I love the fact that you're a family, you're all experiencing the same or similar things. It would seem to me that there is somebody who is trying to connect with all of you. Very often the message is just very simple. I'm here, I'm okay. Trying to let people know that this person is okay. But sometimes it's because someone in the spirit world feels that they just need to touch each of you to bring you peace, to bring you harmony, to bring you joy. That's as much as I'm going to say right now, Kitty, but maybe we'll talk about it another time. You never know. Right, Chris.
Right, Megan says, Rosemary, my young niece went to heaven a year ago.
Oh, bless her.
Does she have any messages for her sisters, mama, or family? They miss her dearly.
Of course they do. Of course they do. Is this Megan, before I do this, and you probably think I'm really confused, is this the little one with some sort of a head trauma? Or just say yes or no to me, because I am connecting with, that's it for now. Chris, keep going. Megan, just let me know.
All right. Let me scroll back up. I was looking to see if she had an answer. Carlos says, my grandmother crossed to the other world last year. Today is 1 year. I see my mother crying. What can I say to her? Both are called L-U-Z, loose. And thank you.
Carlos, it's really, really difficult when you lose someone that you love and that you care about. For us, because we're left behind, but for those who have gone, it's such a joyful and a wonderful experience and such a brilliant reunion. So what I try to say to people is, first of all, try and think about all of those wonderful people that that she loved who left before her, because there's a wonderful reunion going on. Second of all, Carlos, if you live near your mom or close to your mom, or you somehow can get in touch with her, even if it's sort of on, you do FaceTime or Skype or whatever however you get on there. You do Messenger. We can so many ways now that we can get in touch with people on camera. Um, you know, I'm going to say, get a cake, get balloons, and tell your mom we're having a party because we're celebrating. She might think you're crazy, but what you're celebrating is your grandmother's transition to this next part of her journey. You can always play this to her too and let her hear what I'm saying to you. But it is, it is such a time, a hard time for us, and such an awful time of grief and pain. But if we can put ourselves to one side for a moment, which is not easy when we're suffering with the pains and the heartaches and so on, but if we can put ourselves to one side for a moment and look at it from your grandmother's point of view, I can hear lots of cheering in the spirit world. So I just literally had this impression of this wonderful lady sort of raising her arms up into the air saying, yay. So there's such joy and happiness on the other side. Of course she misses you. Of course she doesn't want to, none of our loved ones want to leave us, but they actually don't leave us. They see us, they watch us, and they watch over us. So tell your mom it's for a few minutes, if you could, be joyful for your grandmother that she's now connected and joined together with her loved ones who went before her, and that she's having a blast. And that's what you two should be doing. You and your mom, you should be having a blast and having a party. Have a drink, have a piece of cake, or whatever it is, get some balloons, whatever you can do to bring joy into this day, because for us it's such a sad reminder, but for those who have gone before us, it's such a joyful experience. Keep going, Chris.
I am replying back to your comments of earlier about the grandbaby. She said, "Thank you, my lovely, wonderful Rosemary. I think you didn't make a mistake. I'm realizing you might have just predicted a second grandbaby for me. Love you, Isis in Colorado." She's very honored that Grey Eagle gave attention to her question.
Oh, bless you, darling. Thank you so much. Yes, isn't he amazing? It's not wonderful, fabulous Rosemary. It's really and truly, let's give credit where it's due here. It's wonderful and fabulous Grey Eagle. That's who that is. And I think you're right. All right, keep going.
All right. Betta says, "Please, Rosemary, I need advice from my beloved grandmother Hannah, because now things are going wrong in my life. I feel sad and alone. Thank you very much."
What is her name again?
Betta. Betta?
Betta. Well, good morning, Betta. I'm so sorry that things are going wrong in your life. However, you might regret asking me for help and advice, but my help and advice is, why do you allow other people to affect your decisions? People can only do to you what you allow them to do. And if you buy into other people's opinions and attitudes and actions, then you're not going to get very far. You are a beautiful person, but you're much stronger than you realize. You need to stand up and move on with your life. Stop letting people put you down, darling. I feel very strongly that you have such a great influence around you of negativity, and darling, I think you're buying into it, and you're so much bigger and better and stronger than that. You probably don't like me now because I've just given you a very gentle kick up the bottom, haven't I? Don't let other people dictate your life, is what I'm saying. Keep going, Chris.
All right, Dulcie's responding, and I must say she's very brave because she's getting on using Google Translate.
Oh, good.
So
Good
she says
girl.
she's a little bit slow, but she's responding.
That's fine.
So she said, I'm unsure about the exact sign. This was when she's trying to discover her soul sign. I will investigate further what it really is. It's very nice to read the book, Love from Holland. She says she thinks she's a bit unsure because she's about the fact that I've been abused by a sulfur for years.
Okay, but that shouldn't have any bearing on, first of all, your soul group. So find your soul group, keep talking to us. I'll help you work through it, my darling, if you keep talking to us. If you tell me what soul sign you think you are, or you might or soul group even, you might have you might be unsure or uncertain. If you just keep talking to us, I'll help you through it. Don't you worry, we'll get there. Right, Chris.
All right, and Megan's responding. She's saying, oh my, I love soul signs. I just finished it last week. I couldn't put it down. It helped me understand why my hubby and I are so compatible, why my kids are so different.
Oh,
and she did get the workbook.
She did or she didn't?
She did.
Good. You can make all those notes then, can't you, my darling, in the book? Scribble away, and you won't be scribbling over the print. You'll be using the workbook, which is, I think, a really a great thing to do. But now you've figured it, hopefully you've figured out, I'm so happy that you have a beautiful relationship and you now understand why, because your energy with your husband is obviously totally compatible, which you're discovering soul signs. And also all of you out there who have, not such great relationships, whether it's emotional love triangles, work relationships, you name it, whatever kind of relationship, this book really does help you to understand, first of all, why things are going wrong, if they are, and also it helps you to understand how to put it right. Sometimes in order to put something right, you just have to get out, but there are things that we can do and our own behavior that we can change, and it does help that. But now, young lady, this is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be now looking at everyone around you. You're going to get so hooked into this book. It's such a great book. It really, really is. So somebody made me laugh. I don't know whether it's on this show or another show. Somebody a couple of weeks ago said to me, wrote and said, can you tell me who the author of Soul Signs is? me, my lovelies, it's me. So even though I seem to be blowing my own trumpet and saying to you, this is the best book ever, honestly, it really is. And just remember where I got my information from, Grey Eagle, when I was ready, and you'll read this in the book, when I was ready, he explained it all to me, and all I did was take notes, work through it, understand it, and let me tell you, I had a thrilling time doing it. The most difficult part was actually writing it down and making sure that people could actually understand what it was that I was saying to them. But it's amazing. I think personally, it's a revelation to understand that each soul is born into a certain pocket of energy, a certain type of energy, that we are all, sort of souls of this earth, that the universe has a way bigger plan, and that, energy, really, the energy that our souls are created from is what drives us, and it's what drives us to make decisions. It's what drives us with our actions. It's who we are, innately who we are. Oh yes, Chris.
So 2 things from Terry. She says, I'm still trying to figure out my sign, and she does have the book. She's also thanking Megan. She said, I'm glad you asked this question. My son left us 3 years ago this month. The missing them never gets easy. Hugs to you all.
No, it never does. It never does. But if, again, I always think, and especially, and I'm so sorry, darling, that that the worst kind of a loss I feel must be the loss of a child for any of us, but that's what I feel. And I have such admiration for all of you out there who get out of bed every morning, because I'm not sure that I'd be able to do that. So I have such admiration for you all. But we do still, even though we have seemingly lost our children, we know, those of us who know, we know that we've not lost them, and we know that they're there with us, and we have a responsibility to smile for them every day. Even if our heart is breaking, you just smile anyway, because that's what parents do. You have a responsibility to make your life the best it can possibly be, because you know that they're watching you and watching over you. And if they see you continually distressed or suffering, then that becomes their suffering too. So as parenting is so hard, isn't it? Parenting is so hard. You just have to just do the best you can do as a parent, and be the best that you can for your children. So as really weird as it sounds, and I did say this, as you heard me say to Carlos, as weird and as difficult as it sounds, yes, celebrate for them. Celebrate their birthdays, celebrate their anniversaries, celebrate Christmas, or if you celebrate Christmas, if you're a Christian, celebrate Christmas. Have all of the celebrations and include them in it. And if it's a birthday, make a birthday cake. You know, include them, bring them into your lives, because truly they really are in your life still.
So Megan's responding to your question earlier. She's the one whose niece was in the, whose niece who passed. She said, I think possibly she was in a severe car accident.
Okay,
and
no, don't
I got goosebumps.
Don't tell me anymore. That's why you've already taught me too much. Let me just say that when you asked about this little one, there seems to have been some sort of major head trauma to the little one that I'm connecting to, which I really do feel is who you want to hear from. She is standing next to Grey Eagle. This little one is standing next to Grey Eagle. In fact, I'm to tell you, he's holding her gently on his knee. She's doing fine. She's grown and growing. She'd like to send a message to her mummy, well, to all of the family, actually, sorry, not just to her mum, but to her family. She's got the most amazing smile and the most beautiful twinkling eyes and sparkling eyes, and I'm to tell you that, if you could tell the family, she's fine. And there is a birthday coming up, and she does want cake, and if you could make it chocolate, that would be great. So carry on, Chris.
All right, Mary says, my family was able to have a funeral for both parents this week last year. Do either parent have a message for anyone?
Not that I can see right now, but I'm sure that I'm absolutely sure that that they would want to send love and kisses to you all. Keep going, Chris.
Kayla Phonics says, hi, Rosemary.
Hi, Kayla.
My mom passed 15 years ago. She went into a coma on my birthday and never said goodbye. Does she have any messages for me and my sisters? I wonder if she is reunited with my dad too in heaven. Can you please tell me? Thank you.
Okay, first of all, I don't normally give out messages, but I seem to be doing that today, don't I? So normally I wouldn't do this, of course. You know, there's nothing normal about me anyway. Right, all right. She's I think this is your mum that I'm connecting with here. I'm going to confuse you completely because it's not at all the message you're expecting. But either you or one of your sisters is moving, packing up, packing boxes, thinking about moving, I don't know, closer or nearer to something. I've no idea what I'm talking about. If we had more time, I would do it differently. So you're only getting little bits and pieces out of me here because, because we've got everybody else who have, lots of other people who have questions. But there's, she wants you to know that she can see, that there's a lot of emotional trauma going on with whoever this is who's moving. There seems to be a lot of uncertainty as to whether they're doing the right thing or not. Just move, just go forward, just get on with it. All she wants you to know is that she can see what you're all doing. That's what she's saying to you. I can see. And of course she's with you, Dad. What do you expect? Of course she's with you, Dad. If I've confused you totally and completely, let me know. If I haven't confused you and you understand everything I've said, again, can you just let us know? Because everybody wants to know now whether what I'm saying is right or not. I know that I'm not in any doubt. I know that it's right, but you may have to work it out in your own mind and wonder what on earth she's talking about. But it's very, very clear to me this is what she's saying. And she's only talking about it not for any other reason, but simply to let you know, I see you. That's what she's doing. Chris.
Right, Nicole says,
My
brother passed 2 years ago, and I feel his presence at times. Does he have a message for me and our family? We miss him so much.
This must be, she says, and again, if I confuse you, just let me know. Why don't you just let me know? This must be a young man who passed quite suddenly and quite quickly. We just had something similar happen here with a person who's close to me, who actually lost a very good friend just a couple of days ago. So I'm connecting with a young man who, let's say he passed, let's say suddenly. I don't understand this at all. I can tell you, I have no idea what he means, but I can tell you he just wants more. More of what I'm not sure, but more, I think maybe more of this. For all of you out there who are looking and searching and wanting messages, just try and understand this. The best thing you can do if you really want to connect and you really want to have an in-depth conversation with your loved ones in the spirit world, you need to book a consultation or whatever it is anybody calls it. And that's not me drumming up business. I'm not drumming up business. But what I'm saying is, if you know of a good medium, if you find someone who's really good, for instance, when I do, I sometimes will do, family stuff. I'll, maybe have, I'm laughing because recently I had a lady book an appointment, and there was a husband and there were 2 kids, and I wasn't expecting that, but who cares, because the more the merrier, right? And we did what we did, and it was great. If you really want to connect with someone, I know it's not cheap, but then it's extraordinary and special, and as I said before about this lovely lady who wanted to know when she was going to hold a granddaughter rather, I know what I would do. If it took me years, I'd save up or I'd find a way, because if you want to do something, you'll find a way. And I'm not promoting me, please don't think that. If you know of somebody who's really good in your area, find a way to do that. Just be careful, just be cautious, just make sure that whoever you go to see is good at what they do. Do you agree with me, Chris? It's because it's very hard to get little tidbits and little bits of information going on a show like this.
Well, I've seen you in so many events, and I know how hard you work to try to get a clear message for the people in the spirit world and for the people that you're giving the message to, and to do it in a minute or two isn't fair to either side, really.
It's hard.
Even though we're all interested to be the voyeurs of the message, it's just no one's going to be satisfied on either side.
So this young man is asking for more, and maybe he just likes more porridge. Maybe he's just Oliver and wants, please sir, can I have more? I don't know what he means. I can tell you that he's fine, because I'm hearing him talking to me, as unfortunately not as clearly as I would like to, but again, consider getting together as a family. Consider finding a good medium and go see if you can connect with him. A word of warning to everybody: don't give too much away, please. And if you feel that you're not getting satisfaction, this is what I do with people when I do my consultations. One of the first things I say is, if this doesn't work, you have two choices. I will refund your money, which, even if I spend an hour or 2 hours with you, I'm not going to charge if I feel that I haven't, given you what I consider you bought and paid for. So you're not paying for my time, you're paying for the results. So this is what you should always do for everybody. If it doesn't work, this is what any good medium would say to you: if it doesn't work, I will not charge you, or will refund your money. Or there's a second choice: we'll just keep trying and I won't charge you anymore. And whether you have to have another appointment or 2 other appointments or 5 other appointments, if you want to keep trying, I'll want to keep trying, and I will not charge you any more than that first one initial consultation fee. So find someone who is good, who will work in that way. Don't tell them too much. Trust them. Learn to trust them. It's hard. It's really hard, because we know there are so many people out there who are lovely, who are well-meaning, who are such nice, kind people, but that does not necessarily mean that they are able to do what they claim they can do. Some people fool themselves, and some people deliberately fool others. So just be cautious, everybody, when you're looking for someone. Chris.
Alessandra says, I'm 44 years old. I'm desperate. Will I be able to have a baby?
Let me see. I am not one to give false hope. So I'm being very cautious about this. If you'd like to email me, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com, I might be able to give you 1 or 2 little tips. Apparently, if this is what you want, a lot of women cannot have babies. Physically, they cannot have babies. It's just the way of it. I don't think this is the case with you, Alexandra. I think it's circumstances as much as anything. But if you'd like to email me, we'll have a look and see. But I really think that if you're careful, if you do what you need to do, I think there's no reason why you shouldn't. There you go. Next, Chris.
Dulcie's asking, do you have a portrait of Grey Eagle?
I do, as a matter of fact. But not on me, but yes, I do. He was at there was a meeting of the white chiefs and the native chiefs in 1800 and something or another, and there was a guy. I think there were a few people there who made lots of sketches and did lots of drawings and sketches and so on. And yes, I do have a drawing of him from that time. I coincidentally, we know there are no such things as coincidence. Coincidentally, I came across it when one of my first times in Arizona. On Saturday morning, I'm going to tell you a story of one of my trips to the Superstition Mountains, where Graygle and the Apache lived and hid out and so on. And it's an amazing story. That's Saturday morning at 11 a.m. I may actually then find my little. I've got 2 or 3 around. It doesn't do him justice, unfortunately. He looks much more handsome, much more handsome than his portrait. But it is interesting. It is an interesting portrait. And strangely, a friend of mine in England, my lovely, lovely friend in England, actually sent me for my birthday a birthday card, and he also sent me like a postcard size photo of a grey eagle. I don't know where he found it from. I think he got it on the internet somewhere. He did some research and got it on the internet. And it was such a surprise to open the envelope, and there it was. It was such a thoughtful gift. Keep going, Chris.
Dean's on.
Morning,
He
Dean.
asks, when you have a friend die, do you reach out to them in spirit world, or do they try to connect to you?
Both. I had a situation yesterday where I just mentioned that someone that was close to me lost someone who was close to them, and I was talking yesterday and caught glimpses of the young man who died. He died on, I'm not sure if it was Sunday or Monday, but anyway, and yes, so it's both. It's actually both, Dean. But good question. If those in the spirit want to connect with us, then they will. And if all we have to do is call out to them. If they're not busy, they'll come around, won't they? But if they're busy doing other things, I try not to bother them too much. I try not to, push my wants and needs onto them, because I do realize that they have their own lives. But and often I'll have my puppies come around, and Nino, particularly at the moment, is making 1 or 2 little appearances. I don't think he's, as much as I think he's come from, he was my dog. He was just beautiful. He was a wonderful, wonderful puppy for me. Very, very special way of finding him. But I think he's come around because, Cachorro is, after all, next month 14 years old. That's an awful lot of years for a puppy dog, and we know he's on his way. I'm hoping to keep him for a while yet, but we know he's on his way. But when I see Nino coming around, I'm pretty sure that Nino's going to be the one who's going to help him over when the time comes. Chris.
Nora says, we are really going through years of loss, physical, financial, and emotional.
Oh,
why?
So sorry, Nora.
When will this end? Needing better times.
Well, I know that there's so many people who are in your situation, Nora, and sometimes I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday who lost his job, and it totally and absolutely 100% unexpected, and with no warning whatsoever. He was basically kicked to the curb, let's say. Just too bad, 2 weeks pay, and that's it. Years and years ago, my husband at the time fired a young man and there was no severance pay, nothing. He just fired him. And this young man had a wife and a baby. The baby was a disabled little boy, beautiful little boy who had severe cerebral palsy. And the young man took a gamble, and he went to his grandmother, and he borrowed £100, which is the equivalent of, I don't know, $125 or something, from his grandmother. Now, we're going back a few years, and he bought a really cheap, battered, run-down old small van, and then he went to all of the hosiery places in the city where we lived, was, you know, sort of knitwear and hosiery and so on and so forth. And he sort of bought a few of their, let's say, not totally ruined stuff, but slightly flawed uh, things, and he set up a market stall. And it was a big gamble. He didn't really know what he was doing, but anyway, he set up a market stall. He sold this stuff, not for perfect. It was, they were called seconds. And then before you knew it, he then got another market stall, and he was able to employ someone to run his second market stall, and then his third, and then he bought a store, and then he bought a second store, and he became very, very well off because he took a gamble. Sometimes, in order to change our lives, we have to take a leap of faith, and that leap of faith is not in anyone else. That leap of faith is in ourselves, and it's so hard for us to do. It really is hard for us to do. And I was saying to my friend yesterday who lost his job, you know, this might be a good lesson for you. Maybe you should start and do more on your own and rely on your own self and your own resources. Think of the things that you can do and just take that leap of faith and just dive in there and do it. The worst thing that can happen is you fall on your face. So what? Then you pick yourself up and you get on with it. But sometimes we just have to, there's this a great saying, it's a Buddhist saying, allow the winds of heaven to dance between you and your fate. And sometimes that's what you have to do. You have to take that leap of faith. You have to dive off the cliff. You won't fall to the rocks below and be smashed to smithereens. Have faith that God will lift you up and find a way and help you to find a way to make things better. It's hard. I'm so sorry, Nora, but sometimes we have to take actions ourselves to change. Chris.
Michelle says, I've been dreaming a lot of my father, Manuel, who passed in 2016. Do you think he wants to tell me something? Thank you very much.
Michelle, I think that, yes, I do think that very often we have, in our dream state, we have visits from our loved ones in the spirit world. I was actually going to say one thing, but apparently Gregor's put his hand on my shoulder here, so I'm needing to pay attention to him here. It just seems to be one of those mornings we're just giving stuff out here, which is fine. I was going to say, and this is true for most of us, our loved ones in the spirit world, sometimes it's the only way that they can, you know, sort of, the only time when we're able to connect with them, and they come to us simply to tell us that they love us, that they're with us, and so on. But I think there's a little bit more to this for you, because I think that that you are sort of contemplating, according to what Gregor tells me, you've been contemplating, or life has been contemplating around you some changes that you're not sure of, that you're very unsettled about. And I think that your grandfather is coming to you to say, whatever you choose to do, I'm with you, and you can overcome and you can deal with things. So earlier on I was talking to Nora about taking a leap of faith. I think it might be coming to a point in your life when you're going to have to take a leap of faith, and I think your grandfather's saying to you, just do it. The worst thing that can happen is you fall on your face, you pick yourself up and you move on. The best thing that can happen is that you fly. That's what I think. Okay, let's keep going.
Megan says, thank you so much, Grey Eagle and Rosemary. I absolutely will be scheduling time with you, mostly because I have admired you for years and you are my celebrity. Your heart is truly what you do.
Oh, gosh. I'm a celebrity. Thank you, Megan. Thank you. And then if you do decide to schedule with me, you just need to email Rosemary at rosemaryantair.com. I think this is a moment where we can say, if you would like healing, if you'd like to schedule a consultation, if you want to know more about books, if you want to know more about soul science, you can just put the topic in the subject, and then Michelle will know how to sort you all out. But if you would like to be on the mailing list, then please just request it, because you won't automatically go on there just because you send me an email. So request an email. And also, as we've said, I can't stress this enough, especially since Carlos and Megan, you told us why people should, because I didn't know that. Why should people prescribe to YouTube? Well, it's because you never miss any more of my shows. There they are. You get a notification. Ding. Rosemary probably says something like, Rosemary Altea is going live or something like that. And it also takes you to the right spot so you won't miss me. So subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. I think we've got time for just a few more questions. Hasn't the morning gone really fast here? My goodness.
It really has. So there's one question and just a couple of comments. So the question is from Cheryl. She says, on the other side, are there rooms for us to visit people? I have been in a few rooms. One was with Jesus.
Oh, nice. Oh, we want to know more about that. Why are you asking me then if you know? What are you asking me for? You already know the answer. I think there are places, you might call them rooms or places or spaces in the spirit world where we can go and visit people. I think there are, they have sort of events and seminars and group meetings and so on. There are places for families to meet. So I think the answer is yes, but you already know that, my darling, because you just told me that. I'm so excited that you met our wonderful Savior. Because let me tell you, everybody out there, don't think that I have this smile on my face because it's all me. Grey Eagle, Christ is my Savior. He's the one who puts a smile on my face and the light and the light and the life in my heart, without a doubt. But here's the thing, more than 2/3 of the world never knew Christ. Of course, we've got the internet now, so you can find out about him, but never knew Christ, never grew up with Christ. You cannot say that if you don't believe in Christ that you're damned. I mean, it's like saying if you don't believe in Allah, you're damned. I mean, I didn't grow up knowing Allah or knowing anything about Buddha. I mean, I came from a whole different part of the world. Does that damn me to hell and damnation? No, of course it doesn't. Embrace all of it. Just embrace the spirit. Embrace the energy and the beauty and the purity of spirit, whatever you wish to call it. But I'm very excited that you saw Christ, my darling. There. Next, Chris.
Elizabeth says, the last time you told me that you saw a family person showing to her daughter Rachel in their house, she thinks it could be her grandfather.
Yes, I'm sure. Go with your gut, my love.
Megan says, I always feel honored to hear from you. You share so much love and light. I am says, yes, Rosemary, you predicted that I would do great in quarantine. You were right. So I am saving every stimulus penny I am blessed with to be able to travel, move, and see my grandbaby.
Oh, good. Well, good for you. That's fantastic. Good. I always get nervous when people say you predicted. I'm thinking, uh-oh. Go ahead, Chris.
Alessandra says, I just need to tell you, you are the best in my heart.
Alessandra, thank you. That's so nice. That's so nice of you. Of course, I love the accolades, don't I? But we do know that they go really to the guy behind me. Go ahead. He's laughing. He says we'll share. So, yeah.
Last comment from she's talking about the serenity prayer.
Oh, yeah.
The part that says the courage to change the things I can.
And the courage to know the difference. And the wisdom to know the difference. Yeah, it's a great prayer. I know that AA claim the prayer, but I think it applies to all of us in one way or another. I know we've got a few more comments. We'll give another few minutes, Chris. Anything else going on?
Kayla says, Rosemary, why I used to see spirits back home, but I never asked them what they wanted or what they wanted to tell me. My question is, why was I able to see other people, but not my family members instead?
Well, sometimes we get so emotional to see our family members, isn't it? And sometimes that sort of our emotion acts as a wall between us and what we see and what we feel. So so just be patient because it will happen. Obviously, if you do see and if you see and if you connect and you hear or you feel or what have you, so at some point you will see your loved ones. I'm sure.
Cheryl says Jesus was very cool. He seemed like someone I knew forever, like a good friend. He talked to me about healings.
Fabulous. Ooh, I'm sort of, no, I'm not really jealous, but I could be if I hadn't seen him myself and talked to him myself. And yes, I've known him all my life too, so how nice is that? Anything else, Chris?
They're all saying thank you and lots of love for you.
We've had a great time. I'm sorry that I made it really, really difficult for all of you. I put 66 instead of 6. My mistake. Again, please let me remind you, it doesn't cost anything to subscribe. All you have to do is click on a button. You don't get trillions of notifications, but you will be notified perhaps a few minutes before I'm due to come on, or even when I start my live broadcast, you'll be notified. You'll get a little ping, she's on. You can ignore it, or you can click in and you'll think, oh, Rosemary's on, quick, let's go and see it. So there is a reason for you to prescribe. So please do that. If you want anything from me or to connect with me in any way, shape or form, please email me, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com. You may have to wait for a few days for your emails to be answered. Please understand that we have tons and tons of emails coming in all the time. Michelle does her very best. She's out this week, so don't expect anything from her this week. So email me, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com, if you want to know more about our workshops, our seminars, or anything else that I'm up to. Somebody actually wrote in the other day, they wanted a recipe for something or another. Can't even remember now what it was, but hey, you can ask me for anything. All I can do is say yes or no, right? So please email me, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com. Thank you to Great Eagle for being here as always with us. Thank you to my puppy Cachorro, who is out for the count, totally not even aware that we're doing this show anymore. Chris, thank you. You've been brilliant. You've been great. We've had a great show today. Do you think we've had a great show today?
It's been lovely.
Good. All right. So, on Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is story time, and I'm going to tell you about one of the times I went to the Superstition Mountains. What do you think? This is a question for all of you. Did I hear anything? Did I see anything? Was it just the mountains, or was it somebody in the spirit world visiting me? Did I get a message? Remember, it's where the Apache used to hide. It was their hiding place. Saved them from being completely massacred. They were the last tribe to capitulate in the wars from years ago. They were known as the fiercest warrior race. Did I see them? Did I hear them? What happened on Superstition Mountain on this particular time that I'm talking about? I've been there a few times, but I'm going to tell you one particular story. When I went with my editor Joanne Davis, and we had such an amazing experience. I know I'm a horrible tease, right? I'm a really, really horrible tease. Join me at 11 a.m. Saturday morning, Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. on my main Facebook page. We shall be there, and if you are regular on my Facebook page, you should get a notification, Rosemary's live. But I will also be on Instagram and let you know exactly. Again, I should remind you on Instagram before the show continues. There will be an opportunity also for you to ask questions and for us to have a little rapport there. And of course, I'll look forward to your opinions of the story. I'll also try and remember and bring you, show you a picture of my fabulous, wonderful, amazing, closest friend, mentor, Grey Eagle, and you can sort of get an idea of what he looks like, but he's laughing because nothing like he looks like. But anyway, there we have it. So if you need healing, if you need to be put on the healing list, whatever it is you want, email me again, rosemary@rosemaryarcare.com. Please would you share. This will be put onto the Facebook page in the next few days, but please share with everybody, let everybody know, and you know, don't be afraid, click that button, subscribe. In the meantime, please have a very blessed rest of the day, and hopefully I shall see you on Saturday. If not, I shall be here next week, Thursday, the same time, hopefully the same place. I'll probably not get, hoping not to get it confused and mixed up next week. 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we shall see you. Have a very, very wonderful rest of the day. Have a very blessed rest of the day, and I shall hopefully see you on Saturday. If not, have a fabulous time and a fabulous weekend. Bye-bye, everybody. Let's see, where am I going? I've got to, oops, I've got wrong there. My finger's up there. Sorry about that. There you go.